Welcome to this special podcast on franchisee wisdom. Today, I have an interview with a franchisee that has almost 300 franchise units in his portfolio. But I'm going to let him tell you all about that. So, with that, let's get started. Hi, Nadine. So glad to have you in our podcast today. I am excited about today because I know that our audience and franchisees and leaders are going to get a lot out of this conversation and be really inspired by your story. But I would like for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and where were you before franchising? So please share about yourself.
I'm Nadeem Bajwa. I was born and raised in Pakistan, and my all early childhood and early education happened in Pakistan. I graduated in bachelor in commerce in Pakistan and came to United States in 91 when I was 21 years old at that time and had never worked in my life because it was a good family system, support system, but always wanted to come abroad. When I was growing up, seeing people going, traveling, always loved, wanted to travel. Majority of my family was doctors or bankers or very educated family. But I was a mediocre student and did not like to study. And I was one of those students who will study few days before exam. And I loved fun, having fun with friends. And I was in sports, in my local city. So basically, did not take life too seriously until I moved to America. Here in America, I came to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I went to Indiana Tech, and that's when I started actually first job. I came here in 91 during Gulf War. And I still remember because there was a chance my flight might cancel, but I ended up coming in January 91. And first job ever was I washed dishes for the dining restaurant. And when I earned my first dollar, I was 21 years old and it was fun. And then from there on, just started enjoying working. And the big breakthrough came in when I got driver's job. First, I worked for Domino's for a short period of time. And then Papa John's came in town, Fort Wayne, Indiana. And there was big hype. It was new brand at that time, newer. And decided to try that and went to Papa John's and started serving pizzas there. And from there, continued my studies also, finished college with triple major, management, marketing, and accounting. And always thought that I wanted to have, I was not sure. I wanted to have job also, corporate job. But at the same time, I always wanted to have my own business because I never thought I was good in that good in studies that I can become a doctor like my siblings and banker. But I thought having business would be fun. But having college degrees, because that was with pressure that I did get college degrees from the family. But then also I sort of felt obligated that wanted to find a corporate job, good job with so much education. And but on the back of my mind, it was also that what I'm doing. I love the brand, Papa John's brand, from day one. Like simple business model and product quality focused, and the brand story, how the founder founded. John founded the brand from broom closet. I mean, it's it was very neat story. And then fresh ingredients, better pizza. That I really loved from day one.
It's amazing how brands like that can really inspire you, isn't it? Like when you go in there, you think, oh, it's just a pizza place, but once you get into the culture of it, it really gets into who you are and you identify with it. Yeah, I love that.
So I thought about just I wanted to apply for job because I felt that I owed to myself. But on back of my mind, I wasn't sure. But I got a couple of job offers, but they offered me less than what I was making as a pizza guy. So I was kind of glad, and then decided, hey, this is home. And then from there on, before I even graduated, I moved in ranks and became from driver to manager to area manager, operating partner, and then just decided to stick with it. And fast forward, 2002, I became franchisee with first restaurant. I formed a company, Bajko Group. It's basically family, and two of my brothers were actively involved with me. So I founded the Bajko Group with my brothers, and I became franchisee for the first time, which was dream and business owner.
So once you stayed and you move up in the ranks, right, of in Papa John's, at what point, I mean, did you have access to capital because of your family, or have you saved money? Like, where did you find the money to be able to get the very first one?
First, let me step back for a minute. Like I said, I always wanted to have business. When I stepped into Papa John's as a driver, loved the business model, wanted to do that, had a dream. I wanted to own Papa John's. Before that, so I did not know what I wanted to do, which business. But with Papa John's, then I started thinking and really wanted to become franchisee. But the funny thing is, did not know where the capital will come from and how things would go. In 2002, when obviously discussions with family and whatnot, and I left briefly, left Papa John's briefly. Also, things did not work out, and just in search of what I actually want to do. But it was always that I wanted to have my own, like Papa John's. And so family help. It was combination of the capital was it was combination of family and lender and debt. So equity and debt and family helped me, and we are very close family, and that's why. And they were all kind enough to trust me that I can do this, and that's where, with family's help, got the first break.
So they believed in you and all that you thought of and all that you know, because you already had experience operations. You had been running, at Papa John, so you knew how to run the business. So you got started.
Yes, and here's the interesting part also. Why it also worked was because I ended up buying my first location. Did not wanted to spend minimum amount of money, and I opened the first location with only $150,000 all in. The reason because ended up buying used equipment from closed restaurants, got approval from Papa John's, which was very kind for Papa John's too, because the brand always encourages new franchisees and promotes the entrepreneurship. So they allowed me to open with used equipment. So I did a lot of labor myself, like bringing equipment on U-Haul and whatnot, and managed first store myself, and just open with 150,000, which is very cheap if very economical.
Oh no, absolutely. That was amazing. And it's amazing what being frugal and figuring out how to find things at a good price. And I don't know if that's even possible nowadays, but that's amazing way back then. So you started with the one unit.
Yeah.
Obviously you had experience on running, one unit. You had done it, before. So how was it different to run that one unit as an owner versus being a manager for someone else? How
Very
was it different?
very different, very different. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes thinking that they know, but being managed. I feel that in every step throughout the journey, if you go through the similar journey as I went, every step you sort of graduate from driver to manager, manager to multi-unit, multi-unit to whether operating partner or more units or a bigger scale, and then become owner. When I was managing for someone else, I did not have, even though I was running the whole show operations, still, I did not, there were certain things that I did not have to worry about. There was support and marketing, there were tools that were already built with years of experience. One thing about Papa John's is that Papa John's does, as a brand, phenomenal job giving you tools and supporting. the franchisees with their tools and the model, that does help. But still, then again, you're an independent business owner, that there's some things that obviously time teaches you, or intelligence or experience, and a lot of times small failures teach you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that were not back then that we have now as a challenge, Nadeem, and you might speak to this maybe, is this new rule called joint employer liabilities, right? And joint employer rules that now is limiting franchisors to provide, franchisees with some of these business management, employee management, knowledge. And before that was not in place, so you would learn a lot more things, but nowadays it's harder. So a lot of franchisees had to either learn from either other franchisees that are willing to spend the time to mentor them and guide them, or studying or reading, and or the school of hard knocks, right? Just doing it, and that's how you get to know the business side, right? Because I think what you speaking about is the fact that as a franchisee, what you're receiving is the knowledge, the tools, the resources for the brand systems, the product procedures, the training on how to do that, the service process, in your case, how to deliver, right? The technology and the tools to deliver. Obviously, the image, the marketing, the uniforms, the equipment, like all that has to do with the brand. But then, as a business owner and as a manager, that's what you see and experience.
Yeah.
But as a business owner now, you have to take care of all the business side. So sales tax, federal taxes, insurance, and marketing and accounting and all those other things. And I assume that's what you were alluding to. What's like the biggest difference, right?
And the interesting thing is, you're absolutely right. So my first bump and I would say failure was not realizing that I have to, even though Papa John's have given me model, I have experience managing restaurant and people, but the balance, creating the balance as an owner. And I'll give you one example is, so for first location, I wanted to, have good enough sales. So I was afraid of failure, that I did not want to fail. And so I was extra cautious. So I did too much marketing. And what I overlooked is the training part. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I want to have, my unit volume first week, if we can open in like 13,000, 14,000, 15,000 first week, I'm fine with that, because ran numbers, ran break even where we need to be, open store on like such a low cost. But I was just not sure that brand new store, how am I gonna? So I did too much marketing, and what I did was, because I was the only one doing it, I hired some people, but I actually hired a lot of people. I had 30 employees to open the location, but I could not give them enough attention on training part. Okay, so I was too busy bringing people in, but I did not pay enough attention that how am I gonna serve the food what they're coming from. So first day, the restaurant in the middle of dinner rush, I had to shut down twice. And when I turned around on the screen, we were like many couple hundred pizzas down that we had to make. And I turned around, and out of 30 people in the restaurant, I only had five left. People walked out of that
Oh my gosh, no! They walked.
because
It was
employ.
too much.
Yeah, that's why it is extremely important to keep the balance, that you can manage it also. And the training, that's where I learned, developing people, training is extremely important. The brand, any brand, or like no matter how good the brand is, Papa John's, phenomenal brand. I love it. Papa John's gives you business model. They'll show you the tools, but at the end of the day, you are independent business owner. You are responsible. And in today's environment, like you said, joint employer, there are limitations from franchisor end too. So that was my first failure that I learned. And I tell you, I'm so glad that that happened to me, because what happens is when you start business, the people in community, what I love about America is that you do get a chance if you really are want to do the right thing, good and hard, and you want to serve the community. America loves hardworking people, and you get chance. And here's what I did. I obviously called all my friends I knew from the past jobs, got them in. And if you're good to people and if you help people throughout your life, you know that, when the day comes, people are willing to help you also. And so some old friends came, helped me. So, within a week, we got ourselves in position where we could handle the business. And then I still felt bad that how I promised the community that they were going to have the best service I couldn't provide. So I ran full page ad in the newspaper that it was so I gave it was like sweets for the sweet kind of thing. And I just apologized and thanked the community, and I asked them to come and have dessert on me. So I just gave away a lot of products. So people who were not happy, they gave me second chance. And that location still is first location still is it's in East Liverpool, Ohio, and that is still one of our good, better locations. And the community have been with us since 2002, and I'm so glad that we have won so many awards within the town for best food, and we are loved, and we love the community back.
I love that. I love the fact that you thought about doing that. You thought about, responsibility, because a lot of people, business, feel bad about it, but I don't think that they think about the idea of let's put a full page ad and apologize to the community for, for a broken promise and a way to make it up to them. I am sure I could totally see why people will be impressed, by that and give you a second chance, and, hence, your launch into success going forward. I love that. That is fantastic. So at what point did you decided, okay, now that I have, this one down, like how long did you run that one unit in, and then at what point did you decide, okay, it's time to go for another one? How did that thought process came about?
Well, by nature, I am very aggressive, like in, pushing things. And what I have done in my life, in my all professional life, I always felt that I wanted to do the best I can. And always believed in things will come. When I was driver, I wanted to be best driver. The only thing I did not have so much passion that I did, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be best student when I was in college. But when I came in practical life, and when I delivered pizzas, washed dishes, managed store, I'm just competitive by nature. And two things that I learned is that is going to, you can win anything, you can go so far, is one is humility and one is passion to win. And those two things are just in my DNA. And the question, when did I decide to go to the next store, was next week after that. I decided, went through chaos, recovered from that. It was tough, but not that bad.
You
People are
you survived, right? You survived.
I People are willing to forgive if you make mistake and you own the mistake. And yeah, so with that year, I opened the second location. But here's the thing: Aisha, what I learned is you are going to sometime push the limits. You are going to have some failures, and those failures are extremely important. When I talk to people, when I hire people, when I bring people on board, two things that I feel are extremely important with the growth. One is you cannot grow solo. You have to have good team around you. And if you're going to find the people with the same passion that you have, that's the only way to grow. But then you have to be mindful of their dreams also. Because if you have a passion to grow and you want people around you with the same passion, and if you're not thinking about them, then you're not going to have them for a long time, because people who have passion to grow, they are just looking to grow. So that's what I learned. So my original plan was, so I opened a couple of stores that year. Then I made a few mistakes. Then we opened too fast, another three. Then I had to slow down because things did not work that well. Then we had to then realized that I need to slow down a little bit. Then we give a little time, and then time came where I felt, I'm overseeing 5, 6 units. It's not sustainable, because I would be running around if there are issues. If you have 5 or 6 units and you have 3, 4 doing well, and even if one unit is not doing well, you get so consumed into that unit that you unintentionally you overlook the good stuff that is happening, and then you end up having more problems. That's when I realized it's not a solo game. It's not one person's game. I have to have somebody with the same passion. And when I started getting good people, then my original goal was that we'll have 10 to 12 units and it'll be good for me and my family. But then when I started thinking, having 10 to 12 units, I don't want to have this as a full-time job going store to store. And, I enjoyed going to store, but my dream was to just grow. But then I thought, hey, 10 to 12 units are not going to do it, because the people I'm bringing to around me to help me grow, they have dreams also. And with 10, 12 units, I'm not going to be able to fulfill everybody else's dream. That's when I started thinking I want to buy my ex-boss. And at one point I ended up buying 27 stores of his. Then another bump came in 2008 when I bought 27 units. We were about 40, 45 units. I am not sure exactly how many at that time, but that's when 2008, that economic meltdown happened, and things changed overnight. Our revenue dropped 15% to 20%, some areas higher than that. Obviously, the growth, only way to quickly grow is combination of debt and equity, right? So what happened to the financial institutions, how interest rates, variable, if you had variable rate, how big of a nightmare that end up. So that was a big bump, and learn less. But one thing that I am so fortunate of is, my partners also, like I said, two of my brothers are actively involved, and they're ex-bankers. They're savvy in financial management. One of the things that what I learned is that operators and business owners a lot of time overlook the importance of the financial management, right? So you have to have a good gatekeepers. You work very hard to bring revenue and make money. I would say bring revenue. And then if you do not have good people around you who manage the financials of the organization, who don't foresee, because in QSR, Aisha, all brands, everybody goes through cycles, bad cycle, and a lot of time people make mistake by not being ready for the rainy day. And that's what also I learned in 2008, that we need to be always ready for the rainy day. So all these things, just learn with the time. And that's why I always say it's extremely critical to have small failures and learn from your mistakes. And one thing that is most important that I learned is self-reflection, self-evaluation, because I know the mistakes I made. A lot of time we put blind in front of us. It's hard to tell yourself that you messed up. I mean, it is very hard to look in the mirror and say you messed up when you're flying high. But that is extremely important to realize and acknowledge where you made mistakes, and not just only acknowledge, learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to understand that you made, yeah, and acknowledge that, because then you can learn from that. Otherwise, there's no growth. Otherwise, you get stuck in the back. So in 2008, you say you learn lessons about the finance part, right? About being prepared for the rainy day. What does it mean for you? What does it mean to be prepared for the rainy day?
Well, a lot of times what happened is, you have to watch your leverages. I mean, there are traditional banks, there are non-traditional banks, there are equity companies. Obviously, when you have a lot of options. You've got to make, some banks watch leverages closely than the others. You just want to make sure that you have the right balance between debt and equity, between your leverages. I mean, your debt service need to be manageable, and when you do your budgets, you want to be mindful of that you have cushion there. And then also you want to have cash reserve also, even though things are going well. What happens is, when things are going well, as a human being, we tend to get a little bit more comfortable, right? Taking risk or whatnot. But one need to learn that just set your boundaries. It's like sort of walking into a casino, right? So if you start winning, that's where a lot of people end up losing. And thank God I don't gamble and I don't gambling. all my passion is in business, but you just got to watch your leverages, your debt ratios. You just your business model has to work, and you have to just follow the rules that you put in place, and be cautious and take risk where you think you should take risk, but those risks need to be calculated as well. And as you grow older, as you grow in business, then obviously your risk appetite changes also. And excitement is extremely good, Aisha. Getting excited is extremely good, but with that excitement, get carried away, it can be dangerous, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes that excitement might take you too far, and then you
Yeah.
need to slow down a little bit back. Yeah, I love that. So you got to 10 stores and you realize, okay, I can't handle all of these. So you hired at that point, is that when you hired a district manager and start delegating operations to some other leaders? Or at what point do you start building your leadership team at the field?
It was actually after 5 stores, and I did hire. I from the day one, I believed in good attitudes, then skills. So the people I believe in having promoting people from within, and the reason why is unless there is a need, unless I don't have that skill set within the organization, and then I look outside. The reason is because people. You surround yourself with good people. They expect something in return. And if they are following the program, if they're following the model, and if they share the passion, they deserve the first, right? So I actually promoted somebody from within. And then after that, that's how it continued. So people around me, my leadership right now in the field and in the back office, people around me are the people, the tenure, the longevity, the tenure is 15, 20, 25 years, like from the day I started. So I have leaders that started with me from day one. Then as we grew, then it was like, learn and implement and roll out plans. And there were many times that rolled out plan that did not work, then got back on table again and changed things and trying different things. Like I said, passion and humility. Soon as you realize you made a mistake, don't fight with it. Just step back and redo and do the right thing.
Yeah, and make a change, right? I love that. And I also, like you, 100% believe in first promote from within, because the people that have been there with you, the people that have been loyal, and the ones that they know your culture, them, the opportunities there. Obviously, they don't have the skills, but if you can provide that training and that guidance, they will step up to that, and be there for you.
And
So,
I
yeah.
want to add, people, Aisha, are overall, people are good. They're good people who work for their livelihood. And it's just how, but everything funnels from leadership, right? Funnels down, rolls down from leadership, that how my passion is going to carry my culture, that my style is going to be really copied throughout my whole organization. If I'm lazy, that's how my team would be. And I have acquired a lot of stores also, and my rule have been I hardly, when I acquire, and sometimes I acquired market a store that are underperforming, and the same management has been in place for years. And I do not make any change. I try to work with the same people. And because I truly believe that that is reflection of somebody else. It could be. So what I've learned over the time is that I have acquired a lot of, done a lot of acquisition, acquired a lot of stores. And at the end of the day, majority of the people ended up changing their ways. And they are today my leaders, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. You know what? I agree with you. The people will rise up to your expectations. If
Correct.
you expect them to maybe not be so good because your mind people are not good, they're not. They're going to rise to that expectation, but you have the expectation that people are good. And
Right.
because of that, you're able to communicate that to the people, and they see it, they feel it in who you are and your people around you, and then they rise to the level of your expectation. We're 100% in alignment, Nadine. I believe that too has been my experience of over 30 years in the industry, and it starts at the top. What do
Yeah.
you believe about your people? And people will rise up to that for
Right.
sure. So and so your tenure, like I said, because of that, your tenure is very high. So what is the business impact in your organization compared to others organization, even within the same brand, that tenure allows you to have and the results that you have. What do you think is the difference between you and other organizations, whether it's Papa John's or other brands?
Yeah.
That difference, the work that you have done to keep the people, to inspire them to stay in your company, how does that impact the results of your business? Because it's at the end of the day, it's a business, but I know that's a business impact. So can you share a little bit about that?
It's the excitement, keeping people excited. So I'll tell you, one of the main goal I have, when I started business, margins were, I've seen margins 15 to 20% also. Then, slowly margins continue to decrease. And today in QSR, margins are pretty tight. So what from the beginning, what have helped me is that I was always looking to find efficiency, which is I always, obviously, I truly feel that efficiency is not only cool stuff, right? Digitally, whatnot. It has to bring cost saving and convenience on the table. So that's what I always have been working on, that how can we bring efficiency in everything. And then in order to do that, when you continue to excite your team, hey, what can we do to get better, you take their feedback also, and then you sometimes listen also. So engagement, their sense of belonging, that they are contributing and they're important, and that plays a huge role because they are important. Now, interesting thing I will tell you is talking about efficiency. So it all started with pizza delivery, right? With Papa John's. And you can tell how much I love Papa John's. I always talk about Papa John's because I believe in brand, the product, the business model. Obviously, we have our rough cycles. We are going through rough time. Every QSR is, but this is what happened in QSR. So I ended up anything I brought on table, and franchisor was good enough. They trusted me enough to let me try things also, test things also, like call center. When, after COVID or around that time, the labor shortage or whatnot. So I started tested call center, and it was just for my store, my locations, and keeping cost under control and fulfilling labor shortage crisis and managing those crises, managing labor shortage crisis. We started that, and today it turned into a business of its own. Papa John's looked at our how we are doing, and I am one of the my call center is one of the Papa John's vendors. We service about a half of the like over 1,000 Papa John's locations, and then some multiple brands also. Same thing. We started doing accounting when we only had like 5, 6 units our own, because like I said, I have financial strength also around me. And today that was started with us, but today we do accounting for 15 other brands also. That turned into its own business. Same, I have like multiple call centers in multiple countries, multiple language. We answer in Spanish, English, and then we build our own AI, and that was all in the process of bringing efficiency. And then we are building our own apps to streamline back of the house with the with the operations, and that is about to roll out. And just bringing any chat we have always, the point is we always have opportunity in the field, opportunity in the business to get better. And if you have good passionate team around you, and you are look at it, I go out and I look for problems. I look for what do we need to resolve, what issue we need to solve, and then I challenge team also. And this is how the team is wired, because we have been working together for so long. And today, with all businesses combined outside Papa John's, all we are about like Papa John's itself. I have like over 3,500 team members, altogether about 5,000 team members, and go back like 30 years back, 3 decades. I never dreamt of this, really. I never dreamt of this growth and where I'm going to be. I just did the best, whatever I was doing. And this growth and success just followed.
And I think it's because of your commitment, to excellence, to do the right thing for the people, to just, learn and grow, acknowledge the mistakes and the responsibilities that you had in those mistakes, and then finding the opportunities that then you saw, okay, you do that opportunity, like for example, accounting, right? You realized there was a need, you did it for a solution for your company, but it's a solution that other companies and other franchisees needed. So I guess they found out about it. Yeah, how do they find out about it? Like, did you talk about it in meetings? Like, how do other people, how do you get to offer them, those services? Is like you heard they were complaining? Like, how do you end up, you build it for yourself, but then how do you start helping others?
Well, I'll tell you, it's Aisha, everything is, relationship game, in my view. From let's step back for a second and talk about franchise or franchisee relationship. I believe in signing franchise agreement and then putting that on the shelf and then work with the relationship. With in franchise community, it's just all the relationship game. People, the good thing about it's like the reason I talk about Papa John's is because that's the only franchise I'm involved in, franchise system. It is like a family. And we share best practices. Papa John's encourage that, sharing best practices. And this is how it was all word of mouth. I did not stop promoting my other services until a couple of years ago. It was all people knew what we were doing, have great relationship, great friends, great. And out of those, some of the franchisees that are peers now, they were my mentors. When I started with one store, there were a lot of mentors. I mean, founder John Schnatter was my mentor. He did not know that. Obviously, with the time we got to know each other or whatnot. So, they're like when you are passionate and you want to do some, there are a lot of good people out there, and you can find mentor and they'll teach you. And then, like I said, with it's just the culture of Papa John's is just it is so good, and they encourage these best practices and wins, and so that's how people find out.
I love that. That's amazing. And you're right. It's about relationships. This, as I gone through, my career, it's not just about what you know, but who you know and who knows you. So, so important. I received a message actually this morning from someone that I met literally 29 years ago and just letting me know about that experience and how inspired them to do the job that they're doing now. And they just reached out to do that. And so you're right. It is about that and in about your reputation, being able to be careful with that, whether you're in business or, or an employee or in the corporate world, your reputation will precede you. That's for sure.
And the good thing about us is, what really helps is, what business are you in? What are you selling? What brand are you with if you're franchising? Because here's what I believe. I truly believe that in our category, Papa John's do have the best product. I wholeheartedly believe that. Now, what I feel my job is to make sure we build that product, we serve that product the way it is supposed to be served. So half of challenge is done when you serve the product the way it is supposed to be served because product is so good. And then rest is easy. You just have to continue to communicate. Obviously, you got to communicate with consumer and whatnot also. And that's why, this is one of the reason that I just continue to grow with this brand is because of the brand's history, the culture, the product, and what it brings on the table. I have tried to, uh, you know, I have looked at other brands also, and there are some good brands out there that I would love to be franchisee if it works out. But every time I got too close, it for some reason it did not work out. But this is home and it's comfortable, and that's why I continue to grow. My plan is to continue to grow. Papa John's is home, but if some other opportunity comes along, I would definitely consider because there are a lot of good brands out there.
Yeah, and now that you are in a particular market, you are able to, if you're solid there, think about it. It's funny because one of the things that we guide our franchisees is that do not look at another brand until you reach at least three district manager areas so that you have the synergies and support of each other. Sometimes people have one or two and they're starting to look for something else when they haven't even mastered the one or two. And so that's what we say. Go to three district manager areas so that you can actually have the support between them and a strength in the market. And then consider, another brand. But any other brand will take away the focus. Now you're so large right now that you would be able to do that. But at the same time, you may not have another franchise brand, but you have other businesses. So I mean, it's not like your life is still diverse
Yeah.
and
Um,
fun because of it.
and that's why it doesn't concern me. And plus, it's just it's comfort. I shouldn't say comfortable. It's home, if that makes sense. It's home, and I mean, it's just I can talk all day that why it is, why it is home and why it is different than other brands. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. All right, so you spoke about the first challenge you had, the first mistake or challenge opportunity on that first week the open, and how surprised and you didn't, things you didn't consider and how you overcome it, right? And then there was another challenge in 2008 that taught you more about the finance and being able to manage that well, and being aware of the leverage in that part of the business. Is there any other challenge that you encountered that you think that other franchisees could learn from you so that they may either avoid it or maybe had less of an impact in their business? I would love to hear about one more.
We are going to go through all brands. I mean, there are two kinds of challenges. One is that if brand goes through challenge, and on those challenges, you have limited control on. And what I believe in is, and obviously, Papa John's, like other brands, went through some challenges, recovered, and still goes through phases. And we have challenges. We had some big challenges as a brand, and we overcame that. But I focus more on what I tell everybody is I focus more on the challenges that we can control, that I can control, right? So if I ever give anybody advice, I would just give on those challenges. And it is just don't get carried away. Success, it can be, if you will, arrogance and ego should not have a place. Humility is extremely important, and this can be a challenge to stay humble when you're flying high. So I just always believe in living within your means, and just watching. Think of every angle when you're doing well, and you'll be amazed. Sometime when things are going really well, I go to my team, and that success makes me nervous a little bit, gives me a little bit anxiety. You know why? Because I know that I have learned with my mistakes, and I have some young leaders too, younger leaders also. What concerns me about doing so well is I just don't want anybody to have their guards down because we are doing so well. So that makes me nervous also when things are going good, and brings a little bit anxiety. And then when things are going well, that is the time to really watch things even closer, because you don't want to lose focus on the main thing, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You want to be able to stay on your toes so that you can be ready for anything and protect, because now it's not just about Nadeem and his brothers. You have how many people you said you have now under your roof?
5,000 team members.
So you have 5,000 team members that depend on your leadership and your
Correct.
ability to be able to run this company in a way that helps them have stability and success. And that must be a very hefty responsibility for you.
Every decision, every major decision I make, I do think that I am responsible for not just well-being of my family, but 5,000 families, and I take that very seriously.
Definitely. No, I totally see how that would be part of your success. So, anything else that you would like to share with the franchisees, any best practices or things that can guide them on how to be a successful multi-unit franchisee so they can go from one job, from one franchise job into a multi-unit enterprise that, those nuggets of knowledge of things to look for or think through or consider as you growing into a multi-unit franchisee. Anything that you like to share with the audience?
So one is obviously, if you want to, you have to love the brand. If you're in franchising or any business, if you don't love, and even business is good, don't grow. If your heart is not into it, so you have to love what you're doing. The second thing is it's all about people. It is people business. It is managing people's expectations. Sometimes I tell my people, we all have bad news to share. Something that people are not willing to, not open to listen. It's not easy to communicate. You just want to expectations, people management. and setting their expectations and surround yourself with good people, and rest will follow.
Yeah, I love it. That is so, so true. Well, I really appreciate, Nadine, the time you spent with us. I know already taking a lot of it. There's a lot of nuggets of information here for our audience. One of the things that we try to do with this in interviews is to show people what's possible. Anything is possible for anyone.
Aisha, when I came in this country, I was not fluent in English. I remember when I was in school, it's very funny story that so my first roommate was Korean gentleman. He was not fluent either. I wasn't fluent either. We both were homesick. And in dorms, we had bunk bed, and at night, sometime I would cry and he would cry, but we won't even share our emotions with each other. So there are going to be challenges. So if someone who comes in this country, it is truly land of opportunity, and I'm so grateful to have come here for education, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've gotten here. And I'm so grateful for the great people I met and great mentors I've had the opportunity to meet and work with. And this, you know, just like all I would say is if you have a passion and if you want to do it, it can be done. Sometimes there will be roadblocks, but that are only there for a reason, and you should not be discouraged by them. Every small failure can be a blessing also.
100%. Thank you for those words. So Nadim, as we close this call, what's next for you? What's next? What are you looking for in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'll tell you, I next 5 to 10 years, just I do not want to retire. I love to travel, and what I'm blessed with is that now I have business in multiple countries, so I get to travel, and I enjoy. And my kids, two of my our three daughters are married, and I just want to continue to grow, and I want to help wherever I can also and continue to grow. So that's why, this podcast or any other platform, anywhere I can inspire people, I can help motivate people. This young generation, I mean, if any help I can provide, I would love to do that. And then just I want to continue to grow. So I have not decided. Here's the interesting thing is nothing I've achieved so far was planned, and it is so interesting, and I love to find out what is next.
I love
Because
that. Yeah, whatever it is, it will show up and you will embrace it and
absolutely all my goal is to make sure that I continue to surround myself with great people, continue to grow, continue to work on bringing efficiency on the table, continue to inspire people. And so far, that has gotten me here, and I'm sure that's going to take me even farther.
with all the success that you have had, I'm sure you have achieved, and you mentioned a little bit about awards. So, what awards have you received, through Papa John's or in general?
Well, throughout the year, I've been blessed to receive a lot of recognition, awards, but most recently, I'm just so grateful that this year, on Papa John's conference and worldwide, all global operators and franchisee come to that conference, and it happened in Orlando. And we won Developer of the Year and Franchisee of the Year award, which was phenomenal to win both huge awards in one year. So that is fresh in my memory, and I'm still celebrating.
Oh, wow. I could not imagine a better way to close this conversation like that. What an inspiration. Thank you, Nadeem, for your so generously sharing your knowledge and your experience to others. This will be watched and heard by many people, so you will be able to inspire others through this particular process. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. And if we can be of service to you, please reach out anytime. And if anybody wants to be able to learn about Nadeem's companies and services that they provide, I'm going to put that information in the show notes so that you are able to learn about what else he can help support you with your business and be able to be successful too. So, with that, thank you, Nadeem. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you in the franchise world out there.
Thank you.